Evan Hale had planned for a quiet night. His work shift on the orbital station had been long, full of noisy machinery, flickering panels, and constant repair orders from every deck. All he wanted now was rest. His small cabin was warm, dimly lit, and peaceful, the kind of place where a human could finally breathe after a busy day. He kicked off his boots, stretched his tired legs, and prepared to lie down. But then a soft knock broke the silence. It wasn't the usual firm sound of a human visitor. It was gentle, careful, almost musical. Like someone unsure if they should disturb him at all. Evan paused, confused. Hardly anyone visited him, especially this late. He stood and walked to the door, expecting maybe a neighbor with a technical question. When the door slid open, he froze. Standing outside was Lyra, the Volari researcher he had met only a few times in the science wing. Her species was known for their shimmering skin, glowing patterns that shifted with emotion, and elegant movements that looked almost weightless. She always seemed shy around humans, speaking softly, keeping her hands close to her chest. But tonight, she looked even more nervous than usual. Her bioluminescent skin glowed with a pale blue tint, the color of hesitation. "Human, Evan," she whispered, her voice trembling. "May I speak with you?" Evan nodded immediately. "Of course. Are you all right? You look cold." She stepped into the light of the doorway, and he noticed her shoulders shaking. Volari bodies were sensitive to temperature changes, and even the smallest drop could cause discomfort. She wore a thin research coat, and her hair was damp from the station's humid corridors. "My room heating unit has failed," she said softly. "Repairs will not arrive until morning. The temperature in my cabin is already too low for my species. I could not stay there." She swallowed nervously, looking down. "And the temporary sleeping pods are full because of the diplomatic guests. Humans are the only ones whose warmth is safe for us." Evan listened with increasing concern. He knew Volari physiology enough to understand the danger. Cold weakened them fast, slower breathing, slower heart, and sometimes fainting if the temperature dropped too much. "Why didn't you go to medical?" he asked gently. "I tried," she whispered, her color shifting to a soft violet of embarrassment. "Medical offered blankets, but they are not enough. I needed a warm room, and I needed someone I trust." Evan blinked. He had never heard her speak so openly before. Lyra took a shaky breath as if gathering courage. "Human Evan, may I sleep in your room tonight?" Evan stared at her, unsure if he heard correctly. A Volari asking a human for shelter was rare. Their species rarely asked anyone for help, and they guarded their private space carefully. It wasn't a romantic request or anything improper, just a request for warmth and safety, but still, it was surprising. "You want to stay in here?" he asked, just to be sure. She nodded quickly, glowing faint yellow now, hope mixed with fear. "Only until morning. I promise I will not disturb you. I only need warmth. And humans are warm." The last words came out almost apologetic, like she felt guilty for needing help. Evan stepped aside instantly. "Come in, Lyra. You don't have to be scared to ask." She breathed out in relief and stepped into his cabin. The moment she entered, she relaxed slightly. Her trembling slowed, and her glowing skin brightened with soft comfort. Evan shut the door behind her and turned up the heat a little. "You can stay as long as you need," he said calmly. "It's just one night. No big deal." But to her, it was clearly a very big deal. Lyra looked around the simple cabin bed, small couch, table, shelves, tools scattered from his work. Humans liked comfort, and she always admired how warm their spaces felt, how alive with small personal touches. Her own Volari quarters were plain and sterile, mostly metal and soft blue lights. "I am grateful," she said quietly. "I know this request is unusual." "You're cold and alone," Evan replied. "Anyone would help," but she shook her head softly. "Not everyone. I chose you because you feel safe. I chose you because you feel safe. I chose you because you feel safe." I chose you because you feel safe. 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 That surprised him more than anything. He didn't think she had ever noticed him much. They had exchanged a few conversations in the research lab, polite greetings, brief chats about equipment, nothing that would make her trust him this deeply. He walked toward the heating controls while she rubbed her hands together, trying to warm them. Evan grabbed a thick blanket from his storage locker and offered it to her. She touched it gently, as though testing its texture, then wrapped it around her shoulders. Her glowing patterns brightened into warm gold relief and gratitude. You humans create such soft things, she murmured, sinking into the blanket. Valari fabrics are efficient, but not comforting. Evan smiled. Comfort matters. She nodded slowly. I am learning that. He motioned her toward the small couch. You can sit there. I'll figure out how to set up a place for you to sleep. Lyra moved carefully, her steps slow, almost floating. When she sat down, she curled her legs slightly like she was trying to mimic human posture. Her species didn't normally sit on soft furniture. They preferred cushioned floors. Evan, she said softly, I must tell you something. Before we share the night. He sat on the edge of his bed, giving her his full attention. Go ahead. She looked down at her glowing hands. My people, when we spend a night in safety with someone, it forms a memory in our hearts. Not romantic, not binding, but deep. She tapped her chest gently. An imprint of trust. It lasts our whole lives. Evan raised his eyebrows. So, sleeping here means something special to you? She nodded. Yes. But not in a way that should trouble you. It is not a claim. It is not a bond of ownership. It is only a mark of who protected us when we were vulnerable. He leaned back, trying to understand. Why me, though? There must be other humans, you know. Her glowing patterns shifted to shy pink. You fix things quietly. You speak gently. You do not laugh at other species' customs. And when I watch you work, you look calm, steady, safe. I felt I could ask you. Evan wasn't used to praise, so he looked away for a moment. Well, I'm glad you came to me. And I'll make sure you stay warm. Lyra exhaled slowly, finally relaxing. She pulled the blanket closer around herself and watched him adjust the heating again. Her eyes reflected the soft amber lights of his cabin, creating a calm, peaceful scene. After a few minutes, she hesitantly asked, Human, Evan, may I sit closer? Only if it is allowed. My species warms faster when near a warm person. Evan paused. The request wasn't inappropriate. Valari physiology required warmth, and personal distance meant different things to them. But she still looked embarrassed, as if afraid he might misunderstand. You can sit wherever you feel comfortable, he said gently. Her glow brightened with relief. She moved from the couch to sit on the floor closer to his bed, still wrapped in the blanket. The warmth of the heater reached her better there, and she closed her eyes for a brief moment. Silence filled the room, not awkward, but peaceful. Evan spoke first. Do all Valari react to cold like this? Yes, she whispered. Our hearts slow too quickly. Warmth keeps us steady, and sharing space with a human helps? Her soft gold glow returned. You humans radiate heat well, more than other species, and you do not panic when someone is close. He chuckled quietly. Some humans panic. Not you, she said without opening her eyes. He studied her for a moment, the gentle rise and fall of her breath, the glowing patterns calming on her skin, the delicate way she held the blanket. She truly looked safe now, in a way she probably hadn't felt since her heater broke. After a while, she opened her eyes again. May I ask something else? Sure. Why do humans help others so easily, even when there is nothing in return? Evan thought about that. Maybe because we know what it feels like to need help, and because it feels good to be someone others can trust. Lyra listened closely, as if storing every word. Her glow deepened to warm orange. I want to understand humans more. Maybe This night will help me understand better. It's just a sleepover, Evan said lightly, but Lyra shook her head. Not to my people. It is a memory. A treasured one. The one who shelters us becomes someone we never forget. Evan didn't know how to answer that. It was a soft, honest truth. Delivered with no expectation, no pressure, only gratitude. The room grew warmer, and Lyra's breathing steadied. The tension melted away from her posture. She looked peaceful for the first time that night. Then she spoke one last quiet sentence, and it surprised him more than everything else. Evan, if it is not too much, may I stay near your bed? Not touching, just near. It feels safer. He nodded immediately. Stay wherever you feel safest. Her glow softened into warm gold, the color of trust, and for the first time that night, she smiled. The cabin lights dimmed into the station's night cycle, leaving only the soft glow from the wall panel and the gentle colors shining across Lyra's skin. Evan lay on his bed, not sleeping yet, simply watching the slow rise and fall of her breath. She sat near the side of his bed on the floor, wrapped tightly in the blanket, her glow finally steady and warm. The cold that had shaken her earlier was gone, replaced by a calm softness that filled the room like a warm breeze. He hadn't expected company tonight, especially not from someone as shy and reserved as Lyra. But as minutes passed, he felt strangely comfortable with her presence. She didn't talk much, didn't fidget, didn't overwhelm the space. She simply existed nearby, in a way that felt peaceful. Evan had lived alone for years, and he often forgot how good it felt to share a room with someone who trusted him. Lyra opened her eyes slowly, her glow shifting to soft lavender, the color of curiosity. Human Evan. May I ask another question? She whispered. Evan smiled a little. Of course. You don't need permission every time. Her glow flickered with shy pink. But I like asking. It shows respect. He leaned on his elbow and looked at her. Ask whatever you want. She hesitated, gathering her thoughts. Do humans fear quiet moments? Many species fill silence with words. But tonight, you let silence exist. Evan chuckled gently. Silence isn't scary to me. Sometimes it feels nice. Especially when someone is calm nearby. Her glow warmed. Then, I am glad my presence does not distress you. It doesn't, he said honestly. You're easy to be around. Lyra took a slow breath as if relieved. Many humans are loud. They speak with big hands and big voices. You do not. He raised a brow. Big voices? She nodded. Yes, humans speak like thunder sometimes, but you speak like soft rain. Evan laughed softly at the description. I'll take that as a compliment. It is, she answered, her glow brightening. Very much. They fell into quiet again. But this time, it felt even more natural. Lyra adjusted the blanket around herself, tucking her knees closer, the warmth from the heater drifting over her. She was finally safe. But Evan could still see traces of the fear she had arrived, with fear of freezing, fear of burdening him, fear of misunderstanding the customs of another species. Lyra, he said gently, you don't have to be so nervous around me. You're not doing anything wrong. She looked up slowly. In my culture, asking a human male for shelter is considered very forward. But I could not survive the cold. I feared you would misunderstand. I didn't, Evan said. You needed help, and I was here. Her glow deepened into warm gold, the color of gratitude. You speak as if it is simple. But it is not simple for me. Then tell me, Evan encouraged. Help me understand. Lyra pulled the blanket tighter, thinking, my people, we avoid creating emotional imprints unless we are sure. A night spent under someone's protection creates a memory in our hearts. It marks a person as someone safe, someone we should always trust. Evan listened closely. So, after tonight, you'll always trust me? Trying. Lyra hesitated. If you do nothing to break that trust, yes, it will remain for life. He felt the weight of her words, not as pressure but as an honor. Well, I won't break it. Her glow brightened again. I hope so. I do not choose easily. Trust is rare for me. Evan felt something warm spread across his chest. Not romantic, just a quiet sense of responsibility. Someone trusted him. Deeply. Without hesitation. It was a feeling he had long forgotten after years of drifting through work and routine. After a moment, Lyra carefully shifted closer, still rounding her shoulders like someone used to making herself smaller. She kept a respectful distance from his bed but moved near enough that she could feel the gentle heat radiating from him. Is this distance acceptable? She asked softly. Of course, Evan said. You don't have to ask every tiny thing. But I like asking, she whispered again. Humans appreciate clarity. Your species is direct. My species is gentle. Asking helps bridge the difference. He nodded. Then ask as much as you want. She rested her head lightly against the wall, her glow dimming into peaceful green. May I learn something else about humans? Sure. What do you want to know? She tilted her head. Why do humans hide sadness so often? I see humans smile even when their hearts glow. Dark. Evan wasn't sure how to answer at first. It was a question even humans struggled with. He took a slow breath before speaking, maybe because humans don't want people to worry about them. Or because we're trying to be strong. But hiding pain does not make strength, she said softly. Trust does. Her words hit deeper than she realized. Evan looked away for a moment. Maybe you're right. Her glow warmed slightly. Are you hiding sadness, Evan? He hesitated. Not sadness. Just tiredness. Life gets heavy sometimes. She nodded in understanding. If your heart ever feels heavy, you may tell me. Valari are good listeners. 1. Evan wasn't used to such gentle concern from someone he barely knew, but Lyra had a way of speaking that felt honest and comforting. There was nothing demanding in her tone, nothing invasive, just quiet sincerity. A soft hum from the heater filled the room. The temperature continued rising to a level perfect for her species. Lyra's breathing grew steadier, and her glowing patterns settled like soft ripples of light. She looked down shyly. May I ask something unusual? Evan smiled. All of your questions tonight have been unusual. She laughed lightly, her glow flickering with amusement. Then one more will not surprise you. I want to know. Do humans ever feel comfort simply by being near another person? Without touching? Without speaking? Of course, Evan said. That's normal for us. Her eyes widened slightly. Truly? Yes. Sometimes just having someone close makes everything feel easier. She pressed her fingertips together thoughtfully. That is exactly how I feel right now. Safe. Warm. Calm. Evan felt a soft warmth in his chest again. Good. That's how you should feel. Lyra hesitated before speaking again. Earlier, when you opened the door and saw me trembling, I worried you might send me away. I prepared many explanations but feared they would not be enough. I would never send you away, Lyra, he said firmly. Her glow deepened in gratitude. Then I was right to come. She adjusted the blanket once more, tucking it around her feet. The way she handled human fabric always amused Evan. She held it delicately, like it was too soft to understand. Are you getting warm enough? He asked. Yes, she said with a small nod. Your cabin is a perfect temperature now, and your presence adds more warmth. And Helly, Evan smiled softly. Humans do tend to run warm. She tilted her head. Is it acceptable if I stay closer to the bed? Not touching, only near. Go ahead, he said. She moved another small step closer, still careful with every motion. Valari were not used to asking for physical closeness, but tonight was different for her. She finally settled in a position where her back rested against the bed frame, her glow reflecting faintly on the metal. Evan adjusted his pillow and lay back again. Comfortable now? Yes, she answered. And thank you. The room grew even quieter. But this time, The silence carried a soft connection between them. Evan felt himself relaxing more deeply than he had in months. Lyra's presence was gentle, grounding, almost healing in its quiet sincerity. After several minutes, she whispered again, "Evan, I know this is a simple room, and I know you did not expect company tonight. But to me, this room feels like a sanctuary." "A sanctuary?" he repeated. "Yes," she said. "A place where warmth feels real. A place where I can breathe without fear." Too. Evan felt something in his chest shift. "I'm glad it feels that way to you." She looked down. "You gave me safety, even though I offered nothing in return. That means more than you know." "You don't owe me anything, Lyra," he said softly. "Helping someone isn't a transaction." Her glow brightened. "That is why humans are different. That is why I study your species. Every act of kindness changes you. It makes your heart stronger." Evan chuckled lightly. "You make humans sound more admirable than we are. But you are admirable," she insisted gently. "Even when you do not see it." He didn't respond right away. Instead, he let her words linger in the quiet air. The station outside hummed faintly, metal expanding and contracting as temperature cycles changed, but inside the cabin, everything remained still and warm. Lyra slowly lowered her head against the side of the bed, her glow turning soft and calm. "Evan, may I sleep now? Near you?" "Of course," he said with a gentle voice. She closed her eyes, her patterns fading into peaceful gold. "If I dream, I hope the memory of this warmth stays inside my heart for a long time." "Ha, sleep well, Lyra," she breathed softly, her body relaxing completely. For the first time since she arrived, there was no trembling, no fear, no hesitation, just calm trust. Evan watched her for a moment, feeling something deep and quiet settle in his own heart. He didn't know how much this night meant to her. He didn't know how much it might change things tomorrow. But one thing was clear: Lyra felt safe with him, and that made the long day worth it. Night cycles on the orbital station usually passed in predictable silence, with only the low hum of engines and the soft clicking of systems adjusting themselves. Evan expected the same tonight. After Lyra finally drifted into peaceful sleep, glowing softly against the side of his bed, he allowed himself to close his eyes too. He had planned to stay awake for a while longer, just in case she needed something, but her calm breathing made him relax more than he expected. But the quiet didn't last. A sudden jolt shook the room, followed by a loud metallic groan that echoed through the walls. The lights flickered violently, dimmed, then flickered again. Evan snapped awake, sitting up fast. The heater sputtered, its warm flow becoming weak in seconds. Lyra jerked awake with a sharp breath. Her glow, peaceful gold moments ago flashed pale blue in fear. What happened?" she whispered, voice trembling. Evan swung his legs off the bed. "A power fluctuation. Something hit the station, or a system malfunctioned. Stay close. Don't panic." But the temperature drop came quickly. For humans, it was uncomfortable. For Valari, it was dangerous. Lyra's shoulders began trembling again almost immediately. She wrapped the blanket tightly around herself, pressing closer to the bed as if the small remaining warmth could protect her. The lights flickered again. A loud alarm buzzed, once short, sharp, and unmistakably serious. Evan tapped the wall panel. It displayed a red message: "Cooling tower, impact system failure, engineers report immediately." He cursed under his breath. The cooling towers regulated temperature across the entire station. If they were damaged, several decks would begin losing heat fast, especially the residential sectors. Lyra looked up at him, her voice barely a whisper. "Human Evan, the temperature, it is already dropping." "I know," he said, moving quickly. "Hold on." He grabbed an emergency thermal blanket from his storage unit and wrapped it around her gently. Her trembling slowed just a little, but her glow remained unstable, fear and cold swirling together. Then his comm device beeped urgently. "Engineering team to emergency hub," a robotic voice announced. All available personnel required. Immediate response. Lyra looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. You must go. Evan hesitated. The station needed him. He was one of the few mechanical engineers trained to repair cooling systems, and a delay could put hundreds of lives in danger, but Lyra's body was already reacting to the cold. Her glowing patterns flickered erratically, a sign her system was struggling. I can't leave you like this, Evan said, breathing hard, trying to think fast. Your species can't handle rapid temperature drops. You could collapse. She tried to straighten her posture, but her legs shook. I will try to endure until you return. You won't last, Evan said firmly. You need warmth. Real warmth. And the medical wing heating won't be enough during a system failure. Lyra lowered her head. I do not want to burden you. You have duties. You're not a burden, he insisted. You're someone who trusted me. Her glow flickered pink with emotion. But the cold quickly washed the glow pale again. Evan grabbed his work jacket and then knelt in front of her. Lyra, I'm taking you with me, she gasped softly. Humans do not carry other species during emergencies. It might be seen as strange. I don't care how it looks, Evan said. Your safety comes first. He wrapped the thermal blanket tighter around her, lifting her carefully into his arms. Valari were lighter than humans, graceful, delicate, and she instinctively curled closer, seeking warmth without hesitation. Her glow stabilized slightly as she tucked her head against his shoulder. Is this acceptable? She whispered. It's more than acceptable, Evan said. Hold on. He stepped into the corridor. The temperature had already dropped noticeably cold air, hugging the metal walls. Emergency lights flashed along the ceiling, illuminating warning signs as crew members rushed past. Many glanced at him carrying Lyra, but no one questioned it. There wasn't time. As they moved toward the emergency hub, Lyra's trembling eased. Her voice grew a little stronger. Evan, thank you. I do not mean only for carrying me. I mean for not hesitating. I told you you're safe with me, he said. I meant it. She looked up at him, her eyes reflecting the red emergency light. My people do not lean on others. But tonight I must. And I'll be here, Evan replied. When they reached the emergency hub, a large room full of control panels, screens, and rushing engineers, Evan set Lyra down gently on a padded chair next to a small emergency heater. He checked her glow again. It was steadier now. Warm gold pulsing slowly. Stay here. Don't move, he said. She nodded. I will help if I can. Evan moved to the nearest console. The damage reports streamed across the screens. Micrometeoroids had hit one of the cooling towers. The automated stabilizers were failing. If the tower collapsed entirely, it could trigger a chain reaction of heat loss across multiple decks. Evan jumped into action, typing commands, examining diagnostics, and coordinating with the few other engineers who arrived. His fingers flew across the controls. He had repaired cooling systems before, but never under this much pressure. Lyra watched him intensely, her eyes following every movement. She didn't understand human engineering deeply, but she could sense energy fluctuations through her bioluminescent patterns. Valari bodies responded visually to atmospheric and energy changes. And slowly her glow started shifting again. Evan, she called softly. He turned halfway without stopping his hands. What is it? Her glow pulsed orange. There is a temperature drop approaching from the lower decks. The system is failing faster than the sensors show. Evan stared. You can feel that? She nodded weakly. My species senses environmental change before machines do. The cold is moving upward. Her ability changed everything. He returned to the console. We need to reroute power immediately, he said to the team. She can sense the drop before the sensors confirm it. The other engineers didn't question him. Everyone was too focused to care how he knew. They began shifting energy lines, redirecting emergency batteries, and sealing off vents. Lyra's glow pulsed rhythmically, green for stability, yellow for warning, red for danger. She became a living sensor, telling Evan when a certain deck stabilized, and when another began to cool again. "There," she said softly. "Deck 5. Stabilized." Evan confirmed the data. She was right. He looked at her in awe. "Lyra, you're saving us valuable minutes." Her glow warmed bashfully. "I only want to help and stay warm." Minutes passed. The emergency stretched longer than expected. Sweat rolled down Evan's neck as he worked non-stop. Lyra grew tired too. Sensing environmental shifts drained her energy, and her glow flickered with exhaustion. Finally, after what felt like an hour, the main console beeped a gentle tone, a signal everyone had been waiting for. "Cooling tower stabilization successful," the screen announced. "Temperature returning to safe levels." Engineers sighed with relief. Some slumped into chairs. Others patted Evan's back, praising him for his fast coordination. But Evan went straight to Lyra. She sat with her head leaning against the chair, glow dimmed with fatigue but no longer trembling. She looked up at him with a soft smile. "You did it," she whispered. "We did it," he corrected gently. "I couldn't have done this without you." Her glow brightened faintly. "I only followed your lead. You were calm, even when danger was everywhere." He knelt beside her. "Are you warm enough now?" "Yes," she whispered. "Because you stayed near." He brushed a loose strand of her hair out of her face. "Lyra, you were incredible tonight." Her color shifted slowly to soft gold again, the color of gratitude, trust, safety. "Evan," she said quietly, "may I tell you something? Something my people rarely say to others?" "Of course," he replied. She placed a glowing hand over her heart. "Tonight strengthened the imprint." "Two. What does that mean?" he asked softly. "It means my heart remembers you not only for warmth, but for protection, for carrying me, for choosing me, even when others needed you." He swallowed gently. "Lyra, I didn't choose you instead of the station. I chose both. Because you're important too." Her glow pulsed, warm and steady. "Then, may I stay near you again tonight? Until I recover fully?" Evan smiled. "Of course. Let's go back." She reached out weakly, and he helped her stand. As they walked out of the emergency hub, side by side, the station lights slowly returned to normal brightness. The air warmed. The crisis passed, but something new had formed between them, something delicate, honest, and quietly powerful. Lyra no longer followed behind him. She walked beside him, and for the first time since the night began, Evan felt the shift too. She wasn't just a guest anymore. She was someone whose presence mattered deeply. The walk back to Evan's cabin was slow, but neither of them minded. The emergency lights had faded, replaced by the gentle glow of the station's normal night cycle. The temperature was slowly rising again as the cooling systems returned to stability. Engineers and crew members passed by, some giving tired smiles, some whispering about how close the station had come to real danger. But no one stopped Evan and Lyra. They looked like two people who needed peace after a long storm. Lyra held the thermal blanket around her shoulders, her steps small but steady. Evan walked beside her, matching her pace without saying anything. She didn't seem frightened anymore, only tired, calm, and relieved. Her glowing patterns, which had flickered wildly during the crisis, were now soft and steady, like gentle waves moving across her skin. When they reached his door, she looked up quietly. "Human Evan, may I enter again?" He smiled. "You don't have to ask anymore. My room is open to you." Her glow brightened slightly as she stepped inside. The cabin felt warm now, almost comforting. The heater hummed softly, and the air carried the faint scent of metal and fabric, a very human kind of warmth. Lyra moved to the center of the room, wrapped in her blanket, taking slow breaths as she adjusted to the familiar space. Evan closed the door behind them. "How are you feeling now?" "Tired," she admitted. "But safe. Very safe." "Sit down," he said gently. "You need to rest." She nodded and settled onto the same spot near the bed where she had slept earlier, leaning lightly against the frame. The blanket pooled around her like a soft cocoon. Her glow dimmed into peaceful emerald, the color of rest for her species. Evan sat on the bed, looking at her with quiet concern. You really scared me back there. Lyra tilted her head softly. I scared myself too. Valari bodies. We cannot fight cold the way humans can. But you carried me. You kept me warm, even when everything around us failed. He shrugged lightly. I just did what anyone would do. She shook her head gently. Not anyone. Many humans panic. Many freeze. But you acted with calm and clarity. You did not fear holding me. You did not fear the judgment of others. You only cared about keeping me alive. Evan looked down for a moment, almost embarrassed by her words. I care about the station too. But you were right there. And I couldn't let anything happen to you. Lyra's glow changed slowly into warm gold. When my people speak about emotional imprints, she whispered. They speak about nights like this. He met her eyes. Tell me more. I want to understand. She took a soft breath. When a Valari is saved, protected, or sheltered during a moment of true vulnerability, an imprint forms. It is not romantic. It is not binding. It is a heart memory. A link made from trust. We remember the one who kept us safe. We seek their presence when frightened. We feel calm near them, even without touch. Evan listened closely, his expression warm and thoughtful. And after tonight, she continued, my imprint has strengthened. I will always feel safe around you. Evan, that's not a burden for me, he said. If anything, it means a lot. She lowered her gaze. My people might ask to meet you. It is rare for a Valari to choose a human for such a memory. Evan chuckled softly. I never expected to impress an entire species just by opening my door. Lyra's glow pulsed gently with amusement. You did more than open your door. You opened your space. Your warmth. Your protection. He leaned forward slightly. Lyra, you make it sound like I did something extraordinary. You did, she whispered simply. Silence settled again, warm and comfortable. Evan watched her glow slowly shift patterns, like soft ripples moving across a pond. She was calming, finally recovering from the shock and cold. For the first time since the night began, her breathing was deep and even. After a long moment, she looked up again. Evan, may I ask something else? Nana. Evan, go ahead, he said. Would it trouble you, she asked softly, if I stay near you for the rest of the night? Not for warmth, not for survival, but because I feel peace beside you. Evan felt his chest tighten in a gentle, unexpected way. There was no fear or pressure in her voice, only sincerity, only quiet trust. It wouldn't trouble me at all, he said softly. You can stay as long as you want. Her glow warmed into soft gold again, gratitude, comfort, a quiet happiness. She adjusted the blanket, moving just a little closer to the bed, careful not to cross any boundary. She lowered her head against the frame like someone settling into familiar ground. Evan leaned back against his pillows, watching her with a small smile. Do Valari often stay near someone they trust? She shook her head. No. We keep distance unless the bond is strong. But tonight, the bond is strong. He didn't know what to say at first. The idea that someone from another species felt safe enough to call him a sanctuary. It felt unreal. After a moment, Lyra spoke again, her voice barely above a whisper. Evan, I want to thank you again. Not just for tonight, but for being someone I could ask for help. I was so afraid you might misunderstand, or refuse, or think my request was strange. I didn't think it was strange, he said gently. I thought it was brave. Her glow flickered softly. Brave? Yes. It takes courage to ask for help, especially from someone of a different species, especially at night, especially when you're scared. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting his words sink in. Then, I am glad I was brave. I am glad I was brave, he smiled. Me too. For several minutes, neither of them spoke. The heater hummed, the room warmed, and the soft night cycle made everything feel calm again. Evan let his eyes drift toward the ceiling, thinking about the chaos of the cooling tower failure. The way Lyra had clung to him while he carried her, the way she had helped him detect temperature changes faster than any machine. She wasn't just a visitor anymore. She had become someone he respected deeply. Someone whose presence felt strangely right. Lyra opened her eyes again and looked up at him. Evan, when you return to your work tomorrow, will things be different for you? Probably, he said with a light laugh. Everyone saw me carrying you through the station. Her glow brightened with embarrassment. I did not consider how unusual that must have looked. It doesn't matter, Evan replied. I don't mind if they talk. They'll probably just ask if you're okay. I am okay now, she said softly. Because of you. He reached down and gently touched the edge of her blanket. I'm glad. Lyra hesitated again, then whispered, Evan, may I stay near you again tomorrow night too? Not because I must, but because I want to. He blinked, surprised. You want to? Yes, she said. When I am near you, my heart is calm. My glow becomes steady. My thoughts quiet. I feel balanced. Evan smiled slowly. Then yes, you can stay. She lowered her gaze shyly. Thank you. The cabin grew warm again, not just from the heater, but from the quiet connection forming between them. It was gentle, respectful, and filled with unspoken understanding. As Lyra settled into the blanket, her glow shifting into a soft golden green of deep peace, Evan felt his own breathing relax. He hadn't realized how lonely his nights had become until she filled the room with her presence. She closed her eyes and whispered one last sentence before sleep claimed her. Evan, tonight, my heart feels safe. He whispered back. Mine too. Her glow softened, her breathing slowed. And in the warm quiet of the cabin, with danger behind them and trust between them, both human and Valari drifted into peaceful rest, 2 lives changed by one unexpected night, one request, and one shared moment of warmth that neither of them would ever forget.